So we're now going to dig into one of the most important aspects of being a gamer, which is being lazy. So show of hands, who here describes themselves as lazy? So pretty much everyone, right? We're all lazy, and human beings are actually designed to be lazy. If we think about it, like, human beings aren't going to do stuff unless they kind of need to do stuff. And that's a common problem for the human condition, but tends to be a particular problem for gamers. When I talk to gamers and I ask you guys, why is it that your roommate or your friend from high school is able to do things and you're not able to do things? Why are you in the position that you're in now? They say because they're lazy. And so I think that that's actually a really dangerous train of thought, even if it's true, because there's nothing you can do about being lazy. Like, laziness is like a trait. It's like, I'm lazy or I'm not lazy. Some people are lazy and some people aren't lazy, and if you're lazy, you're basically fucked because you can't make that go away. And so the first part of laziness that we're going to dig into is understanding a little bit about laziness, motivation, and willpower, and how these three things fit together. A lot of gamers tell me that their life would be different if they could be motivated. So I think we're going to talk a little bit about how motivation circuitry within your brain works. So the first thing to recognize is that willpower and motivation are completely different things. If you're motivated to do something, you actually don't need willpower to do it, right? Like, let's pause and think about this for a second. So I have an apple here, and this apple is hard to eat if I'm full. If I'm already full and I'm not hungry at all and I want to eat this apple, I actually have to use willpower to eat the apple because I don't feel like eating the apple. As time goes on, let's say that an hour from now I start to get a little bit hungrier, an hour later I start to get a little bit hungrier, 8 hours from now I'm pretty hungry, and then suddenly I don't need willpower to eat the apple anymore. I'm motivated to eat the apple because I'm now hungry. I have this internal biological drive to do something, and I have this apple in front of me, so I feel hungry, my blood sugar is dropping, and I've got this apple, so it becomes easy to eat, even if I don't like apples. You can imagine that if I don't like apples and I wait 8 hours, it's still going to require some willpower for me to eat the apple. If I wait 24 hours, I'm going to be way more motivated to eat the apple because I'm going to be starving. If I wait 48 hours, my motivation to eat the apple is going to be gigantic. So the first thing to understand is that motivation is not actually willpower. Motivation is an internal drive that you sort of don't have control over. Your body has these different circuits in your brain that create a desire to do something, and that's kind of what we call motivation. The second thing to understand about motivation is that whether you actually do something, engage in a behavior or not, is not just based on the biological drive. It also has to do with availability. So if I'm starving, this apple is really easy to eat. But if I'm not very hungry, I still may eat an apple if you put it in front of me. So our ability to actually engage in a behavior actually depends on the availability of what's around us. So if I want to eat healthier, a simple thing that I can actually do is just keep healthy food around me and make it easy for me to eat healthy food. If I'm a lazy fucker like I am, and I just have like healthy food laying around, there's a greater chance that I'll eat it because since I'm lazy, I'm not going to leave the house to go pick up a hamburger when there's an apple right here. Actually, I probably will still do that. But the chances that I eat food that's healthy is going to be greater if it's around. So the first thing that we've got to kind of summarize here is that motivation is a combination of an internal drive and availability. And this sort of makes sense for you guys if you stop and think about it. Because one thing that a lot of gamers tell me is that it's easy for them to do something if they have an external pressure to do it. It's easy to study geometry if you have a test on Friday, but it's hard to study geometry after you've taken the test. And so if we think about that, that motivation to study comes from the environment. And that's kind of like having an apple available. a part of our motivation is actually based on our environment and what's available around us, and a part of it is based on our internal drive. So what does that mean for gamers? How do you create motivation? Well, you may not be able to do a whole lot, but we can talk a little bit about managing the internal drive. But one of the big things that I tell gamers is that a lot of motivation is based on your environment. So if you hang out with people who go to the gym 3 times a week, there's a much greater chance that you'll actually go to the gym. Your motivation will go to the gym will be increased by the kind of people that you spend time with. And so one of the biggest things to understand about your motivation, the first thing to understand, is that it's not willpower, and that it's actually based on a combination of internal drives and availability or environment. And so if you think about it that way, you can start to problem solve a little bit about, okay, what is it that I want to do? What do I want to change? Do I want to go to the gym more? Do I want to eat healthier? And then you can structure your environment to sort of prompt you to move in the direction that you want to go. So for example, if you want to eat healthier, go to the grocery store when you're not starving and buy some healthy food and keep it at home. Keep an apple on your desk next to your PC. And then when you feel a little bit hungry, it's easier to eat the apple. Make it easy for yourself to do the things that you want to do. If, for example, you want to go out to lunch, try to ask the buddy that you're going out to lunch with, hey, why don't we go to the gym first? We'll work out from 10:30 to 11:30 and then grab lunch afterward. The more that you can structure your environment to support your behavior and move you in the direction that you want to go, the better off you'll be. And the funny thing about that is that you don't actually need willpower. All you need is to just structure your environment in a way that it prompts the motivation that you want.